Cannibalism is the practice of eating human flesh and is condemned by most societies and cultures around the world. Although it is a rare practice, there have been several notorious cases of cannibalism throughout history, some of which are still the subject of debate and controversy. Hello friends and welcome to the What Happened channel. Here, you will be able to delve into real and enigmatic stories, investigating cases that marked an era and are still mysterious. Today, we're going to talk about an impactful and disturbing subject, cannibalism. Although it may seem distant and unimaginable to many, cannibalism is an ancient practice and unfortunately, it has already been recorded in various parts of the world. Let's now get to know some of the cases of cannibalism recorded in history, which caused astonishment and revulsion. Follow along. Cannibalism, a look at the most notorious cases in history. One of the best-known cases of cannibalism occurred during the 17th century on Roanoke Island, North Carolina. In this case, the settlers who had been abandoned on the island would have fed on their own starved companions. Another famous case of cannibalism occurred in the 19th century, during the Second Franco-Indian War, when some French soldiers would have resorted to cannibalism to survive. In the 20th century, cannibalism became more widely known through criminal cases, such as that of the American serial killer Albert Fish, who confessed to murdering and eating several children, and that of the German Armin Meiwes, who killed and fed on a volunteer who responded to an internet ad offer. In recent cases of cannibalism, some Indian tribes have been accused of ritualistic cannibalism. Although some supporters of these tribes argue that cannibalism is an important part of their cultural traditions, most modern societies condemn the practice as violent and unacceptable. In general, cannibalism is seen as a barbaric and unacceptable practice in all modern cultures and societies. While it has occurred in times of dire need, such as during wars or natural disasters, most people would agree that there is no justification for this type of behavior. In summary, cannibalism is a practice condemned all over the world and is seen as a form of violence and evil. Although it has occurred at different times and cultures throughout history, most modern societies reject this practice as unacceptable. Furthermore, there are serious and potentially fatal consequences for those who eat human flesh, as serious diseases and infections can be transmitted through eating contaminated human flesh. Cannibalism is also widely regarded as a form of human rights abuse and violation. Those who are forced to submit to this practice are victims of a form of slavery and oppression. Throughout history, many leaders and societies have fought against cannibalism, seeking to end this violent and unacceptable practice. Nowadays, there are strict laws in many countries that prohibit cannibalism and severely punish those who practice it. However, even with these laws and efforts to end cannibalism, there are still reports of isolated cases of cannibalism around the world. It is important to continue to fight this unacceptable practice and ensure that those who practice it are held accountable for their actions. In conclusion, cannibalism is a violent and unacceptable practice that has been condemned and opposed throughout history. While there are still isolated instances of cannibalism around the world, it is important to continue to fight the practice and protect those who are forced to submit to it. Cannibalism is a disturbing and cruel practice that has been condemned by many societies throughout history. While there are still isolated instances of cannibalism across the world, it is important to continue to combat the practice and protect victims. The most famous of them, and which a few months ago became a fever on Netflix. The case of Jeff Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Ripper, is one of the most notorious cases of cannibalism recorded in recent history. Jeff Dahmer, an American born in 1960, committed 17 brutally violent murders between 1978 and 1991. In addition to killing his victims, he also practiced acts of necrophilia and cannibalism, keeping body parts of some of his victims in his home. In 1991, Dahmer was arrested and confessed to all of his crimes. He was sentenced to 957 years in prison, but was killed by a cellmate in 1994. The case of Jeff Dahmer is a disturbing example of how one person can commit brutal and inhumane crimes, causing horror and sadness for the victims' families and for society at large. This was a brief summary of the most sinister cases of cannibalism. I hope this has been informative and educational. If you like this video and want to see more interesting and informative content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Together, we can continue to learn and explore the mysteries and challenges of the world around us. Thanks for watching.